And we're live. Hi, everyone. I am here with Phil Brewer and Russell Wright, and we're going to discuss the Warlord GT. You guys saw these guys before the GT, so we're basically doing an after-action report for you guys now. So, how did it go? Are we all right? Everyone's gotten home okay and stuff?
Yeah. No, we're all good. So we're like, 10 days, 11 days afterwards?
Yeah.
So I think the dust has settled, the miniatures have been packed away, and I think everyone's good. How are you doing, Russ?
Oh, good. Thank you very much. Yeah, same here.
And Russ, you have discarded your American cavalry outfit.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm looking at hints at the new list.
Right.
Let's work out what it is.
Please write in the comments if you can guess what Russell is bringing for his next tournament. Anywho.
Is this going to be for the London GT, Russ? Or is it going to be?
Possibly.
Okay. So we might find out in a few weeks. Then.
Right. Okay.
See, that this is June. Yeah,
you've got about a week to be fair, yeah.
Right.
Oh, that's better. Yeah.
Okay. Anywho, so let's start by discussing the tournament in itself. How did it all go? It was 80 players. That's a huge organizational task. How was the space? How was the prize support? How was the tabling? Did it all work out fine? Were there huge breaks because people had to do all kind of analysis and figure out who plays who, and how did that all work out?
So the 80 players, it went swimmingly. It was a new venue, so it moved from Nottingham to Leicester this year due to scheduling conflict with the previous venue. We were in the main hall, the only real sort of game system in the main hall. There was plenty of space for us, plenty of space around the tables for everyone. In terms of the tables in terrain, Gaz Betts has got a ridiculous amount of terrain. So he provided the majority, and then myself and a few others took along another 10 tables. So I think Russ has shared some pictures over the weekend of the tables, and from the ones I played on, they were all of a high standard in terms of tournament quality and so on. In terms of the running of it, so Gaz has got quite a big team that helps him, and Wee Man was the scorer, and there's a computer program that BHGS uses, the British Historical Game Society, that basically does all the scheduling for you. So we had a dedicated scorer, so Wee Man was there throughout the whole weekend, inputting all the scores. Gaz was then available for all the TO decisions and so on. And the breaks, we started quite early. We started at sort of 8:30 in the morning. The breaks were long enough to see the show, to grab your lunch. Lunch was provided. Have a break outside, all that sort of kind of thing. So we weren't hanging around, nor were we pressured. I would say it was. It felt, for as a player, it felt very smooth, and but it wasn't stressful in terms of quick to pack away, quick turnaround, haven't got time to grab a drink and get outside and so on. So
one of the reasons why I'm going to slightly contradict him, and the risk of being wrong, but he said we started at 8:30. Actually, we started on Friday.
Well, true, yes.
Well, that is controversial because I know a lot of people who like it, but I know people who didn't like the concept. I get why. Came away again on, they're really glad they did it. Equally, I do understand why some people don't like it because it makes it an extra night, extra commitment. But it did mean we got 6 games in comfortably. So there's something to consider it.
Yeah. And you didn't have to go low points for the 6. I mean, sometimes you see some tournaments that have a couple of games at 700 points and then the final 2 or 3 games at 1250. You didn't have to do that. You could run your own list all through. Yeah.
So the two big so the event's run is Warlord connected, but it's actually run by BHGS, British Historical Games Society.
Yeah.
There are lots of other games there. So this is not just, like we have a focus on that. It's not just a pop action event.
Yeah.
There is lots of other events taking place. That's a big event. Great concept is the event. Their number 2 event is roll call. And as you point out, roll call they do slightly differently. They get 6 or 7 games in, depends on the year, and you're right, the way they do that is they play some 750 games.
Yeah. Which, is nice that you can get so many games in. Except for me, I like the low points games a lot. I really do. But it's also nice that you don't have to change your lists during a tournament, right? Because that is also mental stress. How about the infamous butt bumping and set down space? Was there enough space in the venue?
Yeah, there wasn't a huge amount of butt bumping. A second chair per table, that would be nice. So we only had one chair per table, and if you're getting on a bit like Russ and I are, then it's quite nice to have to put your lists on, as well as actually putting your bum on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was plenty of space. It certainly wasn't as crowded as other tournaments have been that I've attended recently. So
yeah. Right. So and as for the tables themselves, the layouts and all of that, was that to your satisfaction? I can show a couple of pictures while we discuss that. So maybe I'll do that here. Let me see. I'm sorry. Yeah. There we go.
So as you're doing that, Gaz and his team, they like sort of fairly dense tables.
Yeah.
And they're all themed and they all look the part. If you were looking at the tables as a spectacle, they all have a certain theme. You often see 3 or 4 tables next to each other that all run into each other. So you might have, you have a trade track that runs through them, and there's a common theme there. So they do look maybe different to what you might see at the WTC or some of the nationals events.
Yeah.
And I know, from practicing with players beforehand, the density of the terrain was quite high at the GT. Not necessarily as a detriment, just as a point of difference.
Yeah. So right now, I'm sorry I can't show this to you, but right now I'm looking at one of these tables that shows a little village in Italy. I mean, the density is quite good, depending on how different parts of it was played. Was there did they supply a list of what the terrain was, or was that like an agreement between the players?
No, players discussed
that.
Yeah. Maybe occasionally it plays things differently, but overall that works well for me. I'm not certain. I'm a huge fan of the idea that you get an A4 sheet telling you this is this, this is this.
Yeah.
It comes in useful sometimes, but when players have agreed or something, they're happy with it. Do I really want a TO go? No, play it like this. I know. Wow, we've always said like we set out how the table should be played.
Yeah.
And I know occasionally the two players have looked at each other like, no, we don't want to do that. But as a TO, I'm very, very comfortable with that. You decide you want to play it the way you're playing it.
Yeah, I think on occasions I might ask the TO what was the intention behind the table without necessarily saying, tell me how to play it.
Yeah.
So if I've got an idea of what what this particular piece of terrain might intend to be, things like watchtowers are a classic one in terms of how do you play watchtowers?
Mm-hmm.
How do you get to the top of them? Is it from the bottom? Do you have to run up and all that sort of thing?
See through it.
And see through it. Yeah. So quite often I'll ask what the intention is, and then I'll discuss it with my opponent, and we'll agree, which may or may not be like what the TO says, depending on how we viewed it in the first place.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of variation as well. The other thing I like about him, although he has a lot of cover, I agree with that. There are also tables that are done. Let's say he has a real mix.
Yeah.
And a big part of your game is actually working out how to play the table, especially in version 3.
Yeah, because as I'm flipping through these tables, there's like a bunch of jungle tables, but there's also a bunch of tables that has this railroad track going down them, which is quite different and more open, but at the same time, you've got those rail cars that are blocking off the central table, so completely different, right? Anywho, so I've shown a couple of pictures of the tables. Was there like any of the tables that you guys found were especially good, or was it like the variety? Was that the best thing about them?
Every table I won was a good table.
Yes. Yeah. Of the 6 tables, 5 of them were great. One of them not so great. That's what I lost on.
Yeah.
And the second one I lost on was actually fine.
Yeah. Can I ask you one more thing though? Because there's been a bit of a debate, like going from V2 into V3, that tables have changed or have had to change, or do you still find that because all of a sudden we have a lot more missions that have quarters deployment than we used to have, right? Do you find that has influenced how you view a table now, Phil?
That absolutely. So from a TO perspective, if I'm putting a table together, I'm thinking about what missions we're going to be playing on that table over the weekend. So if, for example, timely objectives where you've got objectives along the center line, it's just being aware of what you've actually put along that 24-inch line, for example. Then you start looking at it if you play quarters. And okay, is one quarter significantly to the detriment of the other three? I don't mind if there's minor variations, but if one really is a bad choice, then you might start shifting things around. As a player, when you start throwing in fog of war as well, you do have to do. I think you've got to do a lot more mental preparation at the table, to turn zero, as you call it. But, and it was nice at the GT. The next round was released quite early. So we had plenty of time to get
You had time to go over, have a look around,
compose, have a look, and so on, but no, I would say definitely, both as a player and as a TO, how I approach, designing a table and laying out a table, and then how I approach playing a table is definitely, there's more to it now in V3, I think, than there was in V2.
Do you think that as well, Russ, or is your experience different?
No, I'd agree. I'd say there's three key issues there on tables. So there's three ways of doing it. So the WTC, you all play on the same table. And you play the same mission on the same table. And that works to the extent because it's balanced. I don't like it, so I'm for it. But with that said, it works. It's a good assistant. The second assistant would be what you do at WoW, which is every single table has a different mission. Because that is one way you can guarantee the mission doesn't favour one player or another, or at least you try.
Or that it fits with the table, right? Because some missions don't work with some tables.
Design the table to ensure it's not unbalanced, or you try to. The third approach, which is a bit more haphazard but fun, is the Warlord GT Gridcon approach, which is we've got 40 odd beautiful tables. We run all the same missions across them. That will inevitably be occasionally you could get heavily favoured on a table. Because a table where you're playing sectors or say land grab or then you're playing on the same table, Heartbreak Ridge. Axel Ridge. You can easily find tables that are unbalanced. That is just the nature of the game. So I'm fine with that. When I play a table that doesn't suit me, I accept that's part of the game. Just get on with it. So they are kind of the three approaches. But in V3 especially, I think it makes a big difference.
Do you think we can also see this in the results because one of the key features of tournaments all through V1, V2 has always been that there's a bit of submarining going on, where some players will somehow get an easier way into the top brackets, or will have a hard time and then fall down. Now we've also got this sort of with, does my table match well with my mission? Did I get the right quarter? All of that. Is that like a further downfall of players, or a further like I can really go ahead now and jump up the ranking?
I think over 6 games it shouldn't have a massive impact. It might impact 1 or maybe 2 games. But you'd like to think, with 40 tables and 80 players and 6 missions, that even if you do get a bad mission on a bad table for your list, you're not going to get it 5 or 6 times, hopefully. But in terms of submarining, and we were talking about this before we started recording, if you look at the top 10, top 15, the majority of the names you'd expect to see are there, but then there's also, some who didn't quite make that cut. And there's obviously some names that outside of local club players and sort of regional tournament players, if you'd asked us beforehand, who would you see in the top 15? There are definitely names there that the three of us would not have said. So, I don't know if it's so much as submarining. It's just with 80 players, 6 rounds, it is possible to have a very hard, run-in, and it's also possible to have a slightly easier run-in.
Mm.
And that's not to take away from any of the players.
No, it's the nature of Swiss draw, isn't it? That will happen. Yeah.
I think if you look at the top 5 or so, there wasn't any submarine there.
No.
But and I'd just explain to people, submarining is the idea that you lose your first game, and thereafter your draws are easier, so you start racking up wins.
Yeah.
So you're getting easier matchups. Certainly, yeah, it can influence positions, but I don't worry about it.
No.
No, I'm just looking down the results now, and there's a couple of people who are in the top 10, 11 or so who lost their first game.
Yeah.
But that also means there's 8 or 9 players who didn't.
Yeah.
So but they may have lost later on in rounds. 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you sometimes hear about players who maybe deliberately want to draw or lose their first game. I don't believe that's a thing, by the way. No. I would never ever want that for myself. And I've twice, 2 tournaments in a row, I've just missed the final table because I drew my first game. Definitely not deliberately. So, like,
if you're out there,
yeah,
I can't win the tournament, but I'd quite like to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Losing your first games are about a thing.
Yeah.
In that sense.
True.
It does mean some people end up with like better rankings than maybe they would have got. I think the Spanish score more points. I think the round 1 is worth 5 points. 2, 3, 4 worth 2 points.
Okay.
Which is a very interesting way of fixing
it.
Because it does stop something. But when you get into all that, it causes so many problems and other issues.
Yeah.
So I actually think, so looking at Brickon, I think he works very well, with the caveat that maybe another secondary would be helpful to break up.
So what would you run as secondary? Because what was your secondaries? Was it kill points?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So if you look at the table, so 11th down to 19. So eight players are all on the same victory points.
Yeah.
And they're separated by kill points, and then when you drop down to there's a bunch of people on 9 points, and so on. So we talked about this on the Tommy's podcast, that maybe having a secondary objectives as that first differential.
Yeah.
I know that Russ and Gaz and I have spoken in the last week about next year and looking ahead, and when you start getting to these numbers, over 60 players, etc. That pure win-loss draw as your primary thing.
It becomes difficult to handle, doesn't it?
Difficult
down
the line. But yeah, I mean, I speaking to someone who finished 18th but was on the same points as someone in 11th, if secondaries were involved, I was very near the bottom of those on 11 points.
Right.
So it swings and roundabouts in that sense.
Yeah. Russell, you are a big proponent of secondary objectives, at least in your tournaments. Do you think that makes a difference in determining who draws who in the Swiss?
Undoubtedly. It has been influenced. What I like about it versus skill points is sometimes if you play aggressively, you're punished for doing this.
Yep.
So you throw troops in the game, you're like, I'm not going to do this thing, I'm going to go for it. And you're taking gambles, and they don't pay off, you get punished for it.
Yeah.
And it also, on 2 points only, it rewards players for basically seal clubbing.
Yes.
It does.
I don't want to encourage that.
No.
So the idea that I regularly, this happened to me actually at Brickon, where I took a concession and we just scored what was on the table. I'm sorry, I'm not going to insist on playing 1 and 3 so I can get 16 guys or something.
No.
We had a couple of discussions like that. So I like secondaries because it removes that issue, easily, or to some degree.
Yeah.
And also there's an added element of skill. Right.
Yes.
So not only do I have to win mission, I need to get this objective.
Yeah.
And it also means there will be games where you go, you know what, I can't get back in, but maybe I can grab the secondary.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. My round 2 was one of my 2 losses. I knew we were playing land grab, and I just my opponent had too many armored vehicles with too many guys in SMGs for me to stop him just driving into my quarter. Once I'd lost, my AT assets, I didn't want to get too close with my flamethrowers because if they miss, I'm giving him points. So at that point, I just went hunting for kill dice. Now, if there was a secondary, I would have shifted my focus
To that, yeah.
Accepting the game was done, but actually focusing on the secondary.
Yeah.
My final game against Ian, and Ian was lovely about this. It was a victory for me, and I said to Ian on about turn 4, it's not personal. I am going to try and take every dice off you.
Yeah.
Because I knew that my dice count over the weekend was quite low. And I wanted obviously to push my dice count up to the final table. And we were both playing US. It was a training exercise somewhere in England, 1944, pre-D-Day, and we were having a great time about it whilst I was trying to table him. But that was in agreement almost, if you like.
Yeah. One thing that I've heard about that I thought perhaps was an interesting alternative is that you take the difference in kill dice. So you take what you take from the opponent, but you minus that with what you lose.
What you've lost.
Yeah.
The negative of that, for me, is it encourages defensive play.
It does. It rather does. Yeah.
People look at their dice lists and you know what? For the casual players who join the tournament, they lose feathers.
Yeah, exactly.
No, true.
This everyone who's casual are not watching my channel, right?
Well, I'm pretty casual. But like, I had the opposite experience still in round 6.
Right.
On kill dice, I took the view, look, I'm not interested in rank.
Yeah.
I'll either win it or lose it. So I had a strategy, and the strategy was, look, I'm going to hope he makes this mistake. And he didn't, and as a result, I got 1 kill dice in that game. And I'm like, I could have gone after kill dice, but I was like, no, I actually want to try and win it. So I went another way on it.
Yeah.
So they did in the secondary, that would have changed the game as well. But I think big thumbs up, big hump for I like secondary.
Right. So let's talk about where we think the meta is at right now. Are we in a good place? What did you guys see there? What was possible? Did the weird and wacky historical lists do well? Phil, do you want to start?
Yeah, so I played a variety of different types of lists over the 6 games. I played the armoured, mechanised transport, that's the game I was referring to earlier on land grab. I played Will Shipman's Japanese infantry, finished 4th. Great, well done, Will, great result there. I played some of the more balanced ones. I played some of the historical ones. So I certainly experienced the whole range. And if you look at the top 10, Rich had a very strong German list with a lot of armoured vehicles. Johnny had no vehicles, entirely scouts. Charlie Murphy, again, German list, a lot of armoured vehicles. With Gebirgsjäger, that was sort of his thing. Will Shipman, with what you mentioned, with the all Japanese infantry. Phil Crowcroft, very strong Hungarian list. Chiu Kim Kung, things all on foot. No consom, no transport inside. Matt McVeigh had the smallest amount of infantry possible to create the largest possible amount of armour.
Yeah.
Two rifle platoons with bare minimum and two armour platoons. Michael Carrick, similar list to Phil's Hungarians. Ray Lowe was a Rangers platoon. Ray won the...
Well done, Ray, by the way.
Yeah. Ray won the best theme at Roll Call back in April.
Yeah.
And he won the Rangers box set. And he then basically built his army for BrickCon because he won the Rangers box set. So that was an all infantry list. And then in 10th was, again, Japanese veterans, but with some armour. So, we're not seeing 10 lists which are 4 infantry squads, and 10 tanks. Certainly, I've talked about this before and commented online. There was a variety there.
Yeah.
I think going into it, I was a bit. What I wanted was to play new opponents and to not play 6 tank lists.
Yeah.
And both of those things were achieved. Anything else was a bonus. So for me, it was a great event. I'd have been frustrated if I played 6 tank lists across the 6 games.
Yeah.
Because it's not how I want to play V3.
Yeah.
And it works. Don't get me wrong, but it's not how I want to play V3.
So are you in a place where you think that over time we may have to limit how many tanks we bring to the games?
I don't know, because if the top 10 were all
Yeah,
tank
true.
costs,
Yeah.
I'd have no argument. But actually, if you can take things, if you can take veteran Japanese, if you can take Rangers leading the way with bazookas, potentially with air observers, if you don't bring flak, that's a difficult list. So I don't think we need to limit tank platoons yet or armor platoons yet. We're not even a year in, are we?
No.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
3 weeks away from a year in.
Yeah, exactly.
If you'd asked me back in February when Beachhead happened, I'd have been like, "Oh my god, there's so much armor."
Yeah.
And Russ and I were guilty of that because we both took Finnish armor to Beachhead.
Yeah.
I think it's starting to shake up. Yeah.
What do you think, Russ? Yeah.
I generally agree with that. There's nothing that's concerning at the moment because the armor lists are not dominating. If they dominate, I'd be really worried.
Yeah.
Look at the top 10, other ideas are working. One of the reasons for that, though, is I think the mission selection by the TO was very good.
Yeah.
And it was balanced and it made sure that the armor can just roll over. So a lot of missions require objective grabbing and that slows things down. So I'm pleased with that. And that's one way of dealing with mission selection.
Yeah.
Unlike Phil, I was hoping to face 6 armor lists. But because I don't like armor lists, so I was hoping to go and rip armor list pieces.
Yeah.
It didn't quite work out that way. But I wanted to face armor lists because I didn't want to face armor lists. Does that make sense?
No.
Right. So I took a list to armor lists.
Yeah. You were trying to prove a point, effectively.
I was trying to make sure anyone who ran into me was the loser again. So that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to be anti-meta and just come on. I just didn't face enough. But I wish I played Rich Caesar. He's a great player. I played him before.
But your list was geared to kill him, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
But overall, there is no meta. People are trying to run armor lists.
Yeah.
As long as the TO is aware of that, he goes, okay, lots of objective missions, then it's manageable at the moment. I'm not seeing anything that's worrying me.
One thing that I am starting to see, maybe one thing that isn't really working, if that makes sense, is I'm not, maybe 2 things that isn't really working. I'm not seeing a lot of inexperienced regular, like, blob infantry armies do well. And I'm not seeing heavier tanks do well, like Death Star-like tanks.
Which surprises me, actually. One of the reasons that Death Stars are not doing well is they're only ever taken as a bit of thematic fun.
Yeah.
They're taking 2 barracks.
Yeah.
Or taking an elephant points. People are doing it for fun.
Yeah.
So as a result, they don't do well. But I am of the view there is something there. There's so much AT. If you start with an armor 10 tank and you point your army list around it very well, it could do very well.
At least there's an untapped potential, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but the problem with it is you can pin them.
Yeah.
They don't lose 3 groups.
Yeah.
So you can make them relatively ineffective quickly, which is a shame because but those armored tanks are still too expensive for what they do. When you do see them, I love it. That's great. But they're maybe that's something we can work on.
Yeah, I'm not.
The other thing, I'm going to jump in on this. I probably should. The other thing that nobody is doing.
Yeah.
I play tested it. I dropped it as an idea purely because I committed to taking no tanks. Inexperienced tanks.
Yeah.
Armor 9, inexperienced tanks in play testing are causing absolute chaos to my opponents. Yeah.
Why?
And they're running around, they're like crazy. I love that. Nobody's doing it yet. At all. There was 0 inexperienced tanks trying it. The extra points you say you can upgrade into troops, do other stuff. Go and try it. You will be surprised how happy you are with the outcome.
Yeah, I guess the +1 to hit is negated if you're firing from a fire order.
Yeah.
So, obviously, the first time you roll and shoot, you're unlikely to hit. But the second turn onwards, you can afford more of them. And if you've got a company commander sitting behind them,
Exactly.
don't care about things.
They're sitting there, they're hitting on
4s,
instead of 5s because
Yeah.
AA. And and there's got the same armor category. Regular.
And potentially, if you don't even want to shoot, potentially just want to run them and do tank bowling down the enemy lines.
Inexperienced command tank value of Chatley is something to behold.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I've used them and they're so much fun. They're fun to make the opponent. But anyway, little suggestion.
Right. Phil.
Just picking up on those 2 points. So Ali's been experimenting, hasn't he, up in Scotland with the veterans, veteran tanks, not necessarily the big tanks, but your veteran armor 9s.
Yeah.
I took it to Warfare last year as a Gumby list, as a step-in list. There is something there. Ben Andrews, he took with the WTC where you had the 5 lists. The 5th list was that double Persian list.
Yeah.
And Ben took that specifically for a couple of missions, but he actually did pretty well at roll call with that list. So I think there is something there. Dice order count still matters.
Yes.
So you've got to find the right balance. Sweet spot. Now, in terms of inexperience, we've just seen this week the new Soviet rules that have.
Yes.
And the ability to start taking some tough fighters, to start taking fanatics,
that'll change up things.
That will change things as well. So, I think the new Soviet book will make people have to think about their army builds.
Yep.
And potentially Japan as well. Historically, always was one that was quite an infantry heavy one. So we'll find out later on this year, into January, what Japan looks like as well.
Right. So that was the meta. Like, as for you personally, were you happy with your lists? Would you change it up? What did you learn personally from this tournament? Let's start with you, Russell.
Oh, goodness me. Well, my list was very, very unbalanced. I knew that going in. I'm not lying. It was designed to kill tanks. It was not designed to win the tournament, despite what people might think. And finished off. I was overall very, very pleased with it. I would go as far as to say it is maybe the list I've had most fun in the playing. Because it had issues, fine. I tried to play around it, but overall, it was just so much fun playing an unusual list. And I think, hopefully, unlike all 6 of my opponents, I think enjoyed the games. Whether they won or lost, because it's just very different. So that means what I learned from that. The other thing I would add to that is go and try fun lists, honestly. Yeah? Go and play a list that you really like. So play an army that you like the idea of, or really want to run, and enjoy it. Just go and enjoy it. And tweak it afterwards and see how it goes. But I had a great time. No regrets whatsoever. I'm glad I took that list.
Yeah. What about you, Phil?
The same for me. I've stated before, both Russ and I were like, we're not taking any tanks. I do take an armor for 2, but I had armor 7. It was all AP16s. Sorry?
I had Jim.
The Fargo, I'm going to talk about it as long as people will listen. The M6 Fargo was phenomenal. 65 points. I told my opponents before every game, what I'm going to do is going to send a reserve, and I'm just going to wait. And when you come too close with your armor, or in game, I think it was game 4. On the last game on Saturday, we were playing double envelopment, old school double envelopment, and my opponent would loaded up his transport in reserve, brought it on turn 5. It was like, I've got 2 of these sat here waiting, and it just rolled on point blank and blew up the transport, killed a couple of units, and started game 1. They're amazing. They're so good. Is it a tournament winning list? If you've got a load of Fargos, probably not.
Probably not.
To echo Russell's point, it's probably the most fun I've had with the list in V3. I've tried the Finnish comps on that, T28s. I've tried the German mechanized platoon, etc. I've been playing US, a lot. I've tried the air observers, didn't get on with them. Having a ton of HMGs with flamethrowers and those 2 little fighters, great fun. And I'd like to, like Russ, I'd like to think that my opponents also enjoyed it, whether or not they enjoyed the result, but I hope they enjoyed the experience of the games. Would I change it? I will tweak it. Yeah. There's something there.
HMGs are great, though, aren't they? I mean, yeah.
2 Web 16s for scout cars.
Yeah.
So many HMGs, and you can put the pins on,
Yeah.
up pop your engineers, as long as you don't miss. That's a big if, but as long as you don't miss.
Right. Here at the end, let's talk about some of the unusual stuff you saw, because you both played against Shipman's very unusual Japanese list.
Yeah.
How did he do that? I mean, what the hell?
So it's not unusual. So I've been playing Ben Andrews a
feel
lot.
like Tom Jones now.
Yeah.
It's not unusual, yeah. I've been playing Ben Andrews a lot, all the way through V3.
Right.
And Ben and Alan Wells are two names that people may have heard of,
Yeah.
who have been pretty much exclusively playing Japan in V3 in the UK and doing very well, taking them to WoW, taking them to the WCC. It's veteran-heavy troops. Yeah, Will had like 14, 15-man squads, you know, and trying to chew through them. If I didn't have all those HMGs and flamethrowers,
It's going to be difficult.
I've got through them.
Yeah.
So yeah, the way Will's been playing and the way Alan and Ben, it's big, chunky veteran squads. Now Will had no vehicles bar one half track. The Ho-Ha.
Yeah.
Alan tends to play with 2 or 3 half tracks. We call it vets in a can.
Mm.
You take a bunch of veteran
Yep.
Japanese guys, as many SMGs as you can on a parachute squad.
Yeah.
Ben's a big fan. Both Ben and Alan are big fans of the Type 92 tankettes. So I was pleased to see Will's list do so well. I wasn't surprised that the Japanese list was up there. But I don't see it. Watching your channel, Bowman, and looking on Facebook, I don't see a lot of it going on outside of the UK.
No.
I'm hoping WoW, we might see some players try that. And that's, like I said, when the new book comes out, I think we'll see more Japanese.
Definitely. It happens every time one of the new books comes out. There's a whole wave of people playing that, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And before I pass over to Russ, Rage's list. Rage's lead the way with bazookas. And especially if you start... I can't remember exactly how it works in the list composition, but you start accessing more bazookas through the armoured infantry.
Yeah.
I don't think you can take them as Rangers. I need to double check that. But
yeah.
You can take a lot of effective AT in an all infantry list with Finns, US, and Soviets. For me, are 3 very strong all infantry builds. Yeah.
Right, Russ.
Yes. I was surprised to see 2 Japanese lists up there. And I think the key potential Will was number 1 is really a player. I've never had a guy before. So I played in round 3. And my God, he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
I understood his list. I understood what he was trying to do with it. And I don't think, if I hadn't, I think I'd have lost. And even then, I'm still very lucky. I'll say that. But it came down to you drew the first roll of dice at one point. There's because you don't ever see them. So you do not see a 13 or 14 or 15 man vet unit. And normally when you see it, it means the player's not very good. Because they don't understand what is it. But they're expecting a 500-pound gorilla.
Yep.
That they can put anywhere they want.
Yep.
And you can't go within 12 inches of it.
Yeah.
And I understood that, so I didn't go anywhere near it, and I ignored it, and I didn't fire them. I don't think I fired it. I hardly fired them once. At one point, I brought an airstrike in on one of them, because finally I got an airstrike. But he had a very good mix of units to protect him as well.
Yeah.
And I sat back, and I was always like, this is all about picking off your small units.
And if I remember correctly, he had 3 big, chunky veteran units, right?
Yeah.
2.5.
Yeah.
2.5 big chunky veterans, and then a full size bamboo.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it.
That's not bad, they were useless.
Yeah.
Unless you could play really street connect it, but it was also
Yeah.
Yes.
chunky units are fantastic, including mortar teams that throw mortars out at you. So they're a problem. But I basically wrecked Jeep with a HMG 1 minute ago. Okay? Because he loaded the whole half. I managed to block a road off at the last minute because I knew it would come down to that. I got lucky. I drew the dice. Statistically, I should have, but nevertheless, I got lucky. And then he retreated the unit. He retreated the whole half with his fire off, which I think is a big mistake. So I got the refugee around the side of it, heavy machine guns. I think I killed about 6 units
Yeah.
with one shot,
Ouch.
which is horrific.
Yeah.
That changed the game. If not for that, he'd have won it.
Yeah.
I love what he did.
Yeah.
I said as much to him at the end of the game. He's got a different approach. He's using a list that maybe you would see an experienced player use.
Mm-hmm.
But clearly he's not. He's worked out a different way of playing it, and I loved it. I actually loved playing it.
Yeah.
It was such a challenge. So I'm hoping we see more of that. I suspect in the new Japanese rules, that could work. Let's just say we the embellishments that could work really well potentially.
Yeah.
And that would be great because we've suddenly got a new way of playing the game.
Brilliant. I think we also need, now we've discussed the Japanese list, the Rangers Lead the Way list. Both of those did amazingly well, much better than expected, I guess. There was also a couple of Hungarians that were in the top. The Curse of the Nimrods for Russell.
Oh, man. Yeah.
You go, Russ.
And I played both of them. Take your list, I up playing both.
Yep.
Consecutively. That was fun.
And the trick here is, of course, that you can't outflank against them. Right. So in some missions, that's really deadly because you have to take them on head on.
You're taking 40 rods.
Yep.
So what they've got in common is very clever. They're taking 40 rods, which are long range, heavy auto cannons. They consider the back. They're the rest of the almost right from top, but they consider so far back. Almost doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because you can't flank them.
Yeah.
You can't get at them. And at the other side, what they're both doing is they're taking veterans with the fieldcraft role, and they're just running through cover, setting up hard corners. Their vets with a good saving try to try and take you out is incredibly difficult, and they can build this really nice perimeter.
Yeah.
They then use to just blast away with the oil cannons, and then what they both do, they also have a Nebelwerfer, which is take the German option, and so that means they're flanking and blocking. They're pushing you into one area if you're not back. It's a great list.
Yeah.
It's a great list.
Sorry, just to jump in, the CV tackets as well are another thing. So they're buzzing around, being annoying, but they can also block things off.
Yeah.
They can just get in the way.
Yeah. To get close through their engines. Don't really care about them. It's the Nimrods and the
Veteran infantry.
Yeah.
So it's a very clever list. Very well built. And I just, oh man. I had to play both with them.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. That's just like you draw. And I think, because the interesting thing though, is my army is obviously, that is like garbage to that part to me.
Yeah.
Cannot cope with it. However, in practice games, I ran another US list that was using experienced armor and other stuff. And I was ripping your property list to pieces. If you've got armor 9 units, they're not a problem. But no one's really taking them.
Yeah.
Armor 9 units, you're running up and okay, right, so you're heavy auto cannon, your glancing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do that with that.
Yeah.
Now, while you do that, I'm going to charge it. I can do other stuff. I played one great game against the list of the Japanese list with mortars. Great fun, hitting light mortars.
Yeah. Pling, pling, pling.
Yeah, and banging them on.
Yeah.
So that list it's a bit like mine if you want. It works really well against on certain missions. It would be like amazing.
Yeah.
But against a good rounded list, I think it will get in trouble. Which is why both guys run it in very good players.
Yeah.
But it's why they were not going to, for me, and no offense to them, because they're great guys, I like them a lot, they're not going to win at all without this.
Yeah.
Because there will be one massive blowout and they get stuff. So, but I love the fact that people are there. And it's a really interesting list.
Right. So we're at the end of what we planned to talk about. Can I ask you one final thing? What's up next for you guys? Phil, what is the next thing for you?
So immediately, 2 weeks time, there's a army event in Andover, so it's open to all serving and veterans, which I'm helping with, and then straight to the London GT.
Yep.
So I'm TOing the London GT for Warlord, and then it'll be WoW, preparing for WoW. Need to think about a list at some point.
You haven't yet? I've done nothing else but train for that.
Obviously, because Greg and I was fully prepared. We mapped this out.
Obviously.
So yeah, WoW in October, and then Warfare TOing with Johnny, Tabletop Tommy's TOing Warfare, which is the final big event in the UK for this year. So yeah, one big event playing you to focus on, and then 2 or 3 TOing events.
Right. What about you, Russ?
Can I just feel, how's the LGT going at the moment on tickets?
Tickets, it's double last year.
But
it's not sold out yet. Tickets are still available. It is the last weekend in September in North London. If people are interested, it's a Warlord event, which I'll be running on behalf of Warlord.
Can I massively encourage you? If you haven't got a ticket for it, it's worth seeing for a couple of reasons. Number one is the leave out, which, despite what people say, if you're driving for London, is very
it's very easy, very accessible.
People are going to say, "What are you talking about?" But I promise you now, for a location in London, this is the easiest one you will ever drive to. Because when you get within 10 miles of it or 5 miles of it, not so bad. Loads of parking, it's fine. Second thing, if you go, loads of food trucks, they do a good job on that. Third thing, there will be something, this might put people off, but there will be several hundred 40k players there.
Oh.
600-800 40k players. As a spectacle, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Like, really amazing. The terrain is awful.
Yeah.
But the armies are beautiful.
Yeah.
And just walking around and seeing that's great. We'll be up on the alcove.
I quite often try to push 40k players down our aisle because the terrain sells the game so well.
Yeah, that's the theory. A bit like Pearl Harbor with in World War II, Japan. With that said, please go. You will love it. You won't regret it. I promise that. Really good event, really good location. So get there as a chance. So
It's great.
I will say it. Well, that will put people off.
Yeah. It's a great venue as well. It's in a sporting stadium.
Yeah.
Indoor sports stadium. The venue's amazing. So much space, and it's a we Johnny and I used to run the English Open there for a few years. It's a really nice venue. So do encourage people to go.
So it's worth just to see the fully clad armies, and it's great. So I've got that. I've got Warfare as well, which is another great event. I can't remember. Did I win it last year or the year before? I've lost track. But
You didn't win it. No, you didn't win it last year. Sorry.
But I didn't win it.
You didn't go last year. I think you won it. You won it 2 years ago.
It's a really good themed event. Great location again. Lots going on. So there's lots to see there. So again, it's in Farnborough. Quite easy to get to by car. I strongly recommend that for people to go to. Another great event. Phil will be running it with Johnny. Nice and great. Phil will be leading. It'll be great. Right. So there's those. And then the other one I'll flag, obviously, is WoW. Oh, other than WoW though, Scotland. Can I just say, I can't make it this year, but I went last year, really enjoyed it. And that's run by Al. You will have a great fun if you can get to it. I just unfortunately just cannot leave my flights to work.
Yeah.
But that's another great one to go to. Wish I was there. Can't be. Then we've got, going on now, sorry. WoW is October 25th, 26th. We've had 1, 2 teams drop out. We've got replacements lined up. We're trying to fix that now. That'll be a 16-team 48-player event I'm still confident of. You will see a lot more unusual lists there. So that's partly because
yes, you will.
Yes.
But we have a lot of adjustments to the army list.
Yeah.
So like the Poland, I have people keep messaging me saying how much they love the Poland selector. Some people say that they really want to get Japan to go because the rules are different. Maybe you can put a link to Dropbox in the chat. So
we can.
See it happening different.
We can.
So a lot of work went into that. And then that's the UK, I think, pretty much be all right. Warfare is the last bit.
Warfare is the last UK event.
Yeah.
The German Nationals, I think, is the first week of November.
Mm.
So talking about other international events, so
Yeah.
that as well. It was Hasklock, I think, last year. It was a really fun event.
Yeah.
And then you've got an event called the Spanish Masters in December.
Yeah.
Which Bo can't play.
No.
Masters event that he can't play.
Yeah. And it's not the first time I've had to drop out, but unfortunately I'm becoming a granddad this November, so yay! But that does take up a lot of family time, so I'm not going to be able to make it. So yeah,
that event there is, I think they've invited. Both got an invite. Don't know why.
nah,
They invited the top 20 players.
nah, yeah. I'm maybe good for 3 wins.
Maybe the three.
Right.
All the best ones.
Right. That's it.
That wasn't a short answer you were hoping for.
Nah, it was not. But but that's fine. Anywho, thank you so much for attending this show, and for everyone who stuck out for the whole hour. Brilliant, well done, and yeah, go to Warlord GT next year because it sounds like fun.
Yes, can you try and make it next year?
I will always try and make it. It's definitely on my to-do list, but so is Warzone Atlanta, so is South African Nationals, Cancun. Yeah.
There's only so many.
Only so much time.
We'll see you in October.
Yes. Yes.
Looking for revenge with that.
Right. That's it. See you next time. Cheers.